have a Black Girl Summer, you need to be drinking dirty martinis.
Check.
Skinny cigarettes.
Not check.
Not check, but definitely using sunblock.
Yes. Well done, Charlie. Hello and welcome to the SheerLuxe Team Podcast with me, Heather Steele. Today I'm joined by Sherri, Andrew and Vanessa Menrad. Welcome, girls.
Hey. Hello.
Nice to see you both.
I think it's a bit of a sad day today. It's the Euros.
I know. So it's the Monday morning after the Sunday night's game. I didn't think England were going to win, but I still had it in the back of my head that I could be doing this podcast really hungover if they did win.
Yeah. At first, I came into the game thinking, like, no chance. Like, Spain have played so strong.
Yeah.
But then they were actually putting in their all.
Yeah, no,
and
you're
I had
right.
hope. Halfway when they scored, I was like, there is a good chance. Like, they just have to get
There was the
slightly
hope.
lucky. There was a real
was
hope.
there.
And then, the devastation was just...
sad. I know.
Even
Gutted for
bigger.
them.
I know.
Good boys.
It was the Wimbledon finals this weekend as well, but we've
So
got the
many fans.
Olympics coming up. I keep watching the Tour de France stuff when that's on at the weekend. So
There's a lot of sport.
there's lots
This
going
is
on.
the summer of sports.
Yeah, they're
It
not
is,
lying.
yeah.
It feels,
when-
I don't know why, it feels more intense than usual.
Yeah, I
There's
think
just so
it's
much going on.
Yeah, but even though I found out yesterday the Tour de France isn't finishing in Paris for the first time because of the Olympics, so
Where
it's
is it
finishing
gonna
in
finish?
Nice.
I
nice.
love Nice.
Yeah, I'm sure they're
Very
not
nice.
complaining too much if they finally
Lovely.
finish right by
they
the
can
sea.
go for a swim.
Gorgeous.
Have a little holiday.
Lovely.
Why not?
But yeah, lots still to come on the sports front. So we're going to talk about our new and noteworthy things that we've discovered recently. Sherri, I'll come to you first. What have you got for us?
Okay, so a bit of culture from
Nice.
me. So at the weekend, I went to a new exhibition at the Portrait Gallery, which I think has only been reopened for about a year. And I just forget, it's such a cool space.
It is.
The exhibition's always really great there.
Yeah.
This was called The Six Wives, about Henry VIII's six wives.
Nice.
And it's on until 8th of September, so you've got about a month and a bit to see it.
Nice.
It goes into really granular detail, and I think the Times gave it 5 stars, the Telegraph gave it 5 stars.
Amazing.
So it's had really great reviews because a lot of the material that they've flown in from galleries all around the world,
wow.
and there are some original Holbein paintings.
Nice.
If you don't know, he's the famous Renaissance painter who did Henry VIII portrait. So
And
yeah,
if
the
you've watched
exhibition-
6, you'll know the House of Holbein musical song.
Yes.
So it's that guy.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah.
So it's a really well-rounded, curated exhibition. So it's got some original paintings, it's got some original manuscripts and documents from 1531 when Anne Boleyn was about to get executed. It's got the executioner's signature, etc. So some really historical.
I was going to say, is
Wow.
it just beautiful paintings, or is there actually some history?
Yeah, exactly. Lots of historical pieces of, I guess, documents
Yeah.
that are really rare. That you can see they've been really well preserved for 500 years. And then they've also got costumes. So they've got some costumes from Six the Musical,
Oh, nice.
which is great. And then also a 1980s BBC adaptation based on Anne Boleyn's life. So they've got lots of paintings, a bit of costume, and then just loads of information as well. So if you're interested in that period of history, which I find really
Yeah,
fascinating,
me too.
then definitely go.
I love that because I guess that was the whole point of Six the Musical, wasn't it? Is that people know who they are and know the rhymes and stuff, but everyone always just focuses on Henry VIII, and the sort of wives are often a list, not always, but often a bit of an afterthought, or you just sort of lump them all in together, don't you? Whereas actually this sounds like a really nice opportunity to get to know the women.
Get to know the women.
Exactly.
I really enjoy documentaries about Anne Boleyn and things like that. I just it's so interesting.
Yeah.
So
it's
like
fascinating.
I know a lot of people say that period of history gets too much airtime.
Yeah.
People were obsessed with Henry VIII. I mean, I definitely am. Not him as a person,
Yeah.
just the whole
his
Tudor
story.
dynasty.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
It is.
But so much happened.
Yeah.
There were scandals, people were getting beheaded left, right and centre.
Yeah.
So, there's a
no
lot.
wonder it's
a lot to
yeah. So cool.
And it changed the path of history,
It
of
did,
course.
it
So,
did.
but yeah, I really recommend it. And they've got a great gift section as well.
Oh.
So it was,
gift shop.
honestly, the gift shop that they had in that exhibition was really cool. So they had things you'd expect, stationery.
Yeah.
But then they had, that brand Roop, and they do these amazing little silk handbags. So they had those in gold and red and black.
Oh,
so it kind of
nice.
like tied in with the theme. So it's a bit modern, but you could still find something really cool.
I do love a museum gift shop when they get it right, especially art galleries. I'm like,
it's the
want
best.
to buy
It's so
everything.
good.
You know, you've done your exhibition. You're a bit like, oh, it's over now, and then you walk into the gift shop like,
Here we go.
one more stuff.
Exactly. So that was my first
Amazing.
thing. And then I also wanted to recommend a book. It actually came out about a year ago, but it's just been released in paperback, so it's having a bit of a second wave, which is Bellies by Nicola Dinan, who is actually a trans writer, and she uses her own experiences to talk about the trans experience in this book. So it's about two young boys. They meet at university. One has just come out to his family, so he's kind of like navigating the world of being a queer person. And then he meets this boy called Ming, who is from Malaysia or has Malaysian heritage. And yeah, it's just about their journey getting together and, you know, how they navigate the cultural differences they have. He's from a very wealthy family in Malaysia. And Tom isn't. He's just from like a very like working class background in the UK. And then one day Ming says to Tom that he wants to transition. So it's about their journey and their relationship and how both of them, I guess, deal with that and come to terms with it and what that means for if they can be together or not.
Yeah.
But
it's on my
a
to
really great
read
story.
list. I remember when it came out last year and I was like, this just sounds so interesting and like a really important story to tell.
Yeah, and it's very layered. Like there's lots of side characters as well. Like their parents are quite heavily involved in the storyline. Yeah, it's just really beautifully written, and it's just a really like heartwarming story about what it means to be queer, I think, in today's world.
Yeah.
So yeah, well worth a read. I really enjoyed it.
Amazing. Yeah, I've got a copy of it actually. I will break it out next.
Yes, I really recommend. And then also, so there's a big moment happening right now
There is.
that I wanted to talk about, which is Charli XCX has released her new album called Brat, and it is just everywhere. She's having such a huge moment.
It's Brat Summer.
Brat Girl Summer.
It is Brat Girl Summer, yeah. So we know that she's written for so many celebrities like Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
You were saying she's written for like Rihanna
Yeah, all sorts of those like big name artists before she got famous off her own steam. Yeah,
exactly. And she's obviously had some of her own hits that have been like, you know, in the charts, but this album, people seem to be really getting behind her.
Yeah.
I think she's like having quite a lot of commercial success with it, and yeah, people are not only invested in the actual songs. I mean, the album itself is so good. If you like synth pop, very like it's kind of like auto-tuned, but in a really cool way.
It's a great shoot soundtrack. We've been using it on set.
Nice.
It hypes people up.
I know, but that's good. You need something like that to get everyone going.
Definitely, it's such feel-good music, but it's not just, you know, her songs aren't just about like relationships. There's one about like, you know, having girlfriends and how that's really difficult, and one about like being in the industry.
Yeah.
So it's a really well-rounded, I guess, body of music.
That's
but then
nice.
it's really nice. But then also people are going mad about like the whole idea of the look and just like the phenomenon of the brat. Which I was like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, talk us through. What is the brat aesthetic?
Okay, so the brat aesthetic is basically anything that's like lime green.
Yep.
So that's like a lot of clothes that she wears are lime green, and it's also like the album artwork. But it's more of like a state of mind.
Yes.
More than just like aesthetics.
From a graphic design perspective, all they've done is like put a slightly like low res like writing on top of a lime green.
And that's
it.
And it just like is so recognizable. It's everywhere. I think they had in New York, they had like a whole poster up on this wall, like where they like put different notes for a while.
Oh, really?
And then when it ended, people were genuinely upset that like it was gone. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah, I've seen people like stealing the posters as
Oh,
well.
really?
The green ones. And be like, I wonder if there's somewhere water.
It's genius because it's so like
so simple.
bad but so good. The low res is like what the hell? Like but oh my god.
Yeah.
But it just works, doesn't it?
It works.
That person deserves a raise. Whoever's done that.
Agreed. According to Charli herself, to have a Brat Girl Summer, you need to be drinking dirty martinis,
Check.
skinny cigarettes.
Not check.
Not check, but I see this more for like her specifically.
Yes.
But you can kind of like dip into the ones that you find interesting. Definitely using sunblock.
Yes.
Well done, Charlie.
Health is important. White tank tops and salads together.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So like,
okay.
I guess if you're on holiday,
Yes.
wear your white tank top, having a
I can
salad.
picture
I
that.
can do that,
Not
yeah.
for me, but I can picture it very vividly.
Diet Coke on the side, maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Now you're like, now you're
yeah,
talking.
we're back in.
Removable tooth gems as well. They're having a big moment.
Are they?
Yeah, I feel like I see a lot of women
I've
now
seen
with the tooth
yeah,
gems.
yeah, and like people you might not expect to wear one either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll be coming in tomorrow.
Yeah, a full grill.
Yeah, or grills, yeah. I mean, not something that I could pull off, per se, but...
No, it's not really my vibe.
Replace your Invisalign with a grill.
Yeah.
I reckon we should all
That'd be
wear one in the
next.
office tomorrow, see who notices first.
Oh my
think-
God.
Oh, I'm
I
doing
reckon
Brat
you could-
Girl Summer.
Yeah.
But I reckon you can pull it off, Vanessa.
Yeah, I
don't
think you can
think
pull
so.
off a tooth
I think
gem.
you, definitely tooth
A
gem.
tooth gem.
For sure.
I'm like
Yeah.
smiling. Bling.
And also just generally not giving AF. So,
nice.
yeah, it's just like a state of mind of just like a Brat Girl Summer is whatever you want it to be. So these are things that are specific to her, but just basically like living your most authentic, fun life
I like
and
that.
going to the club.
A few months ago, we talked about how clubs are dying out.
Yeah,
And now
yeah.
here we are, a few months later.
I know.
Back up.
It's been British summertime in Hyde Park over the last few weeks anyway. But I saw somebody moaning on Twitter, or X, formerly Twitter, this last weekend saying that I think they'd gone to see Stevie Nicks on Friday night, which looked like so much fun.
So fun.
Very fun.
So much
So
fun.
jealous.
But they were complaining that they'd like the gig had finished and then it was only 11 o'clock and they were just trying to find a pub to go to with their parents afterwards, just like
Yeah.
be
Carry
like-
on the party.
yeah, and like just like discuss the gig and stuff. And they were like, we couldn't find any. It was a Friday night, and they couldn't find any pubs open to.
But that's
have
like
a
a real
shut
thing.
final
so
drink.
early.
Yeah.
In Notting Hill, all pubs shut by like 11.
Yeah.
Like there's a few that
very
go till
early.
midnight. It's because of the residents.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
There's
yeah.
been so many complaints that then eventually you
Yeah.
can't be outside after like 9:30.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I do
The
get
sun
that.
isn't even down
Yeah.
yet. No, I get it for the residents.
But if you're
Not
somewhere
for
like
me.
Soho or
Yeah.
like super
Yeah, yeah,
central,
yeah.
you'd expect at least
Yeah.
a couple of pubs to
Yeah.
stay open.
Come on.
Oh yeah, Soho also closes quite early, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
I
Apart from
mean-
the actual clubs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Well, that the family needs to have more of a brat summer and find somewhere
Yeah.
club-wise to go. The dirty martini thing I'll certainly carry through with me for the rest of the summer. So first of all, Sherri, I know you're a fan as well. Mob Kitchen. We've covered them a lot. We've interviewed Ben, the founder, years ago on the SheerLuxe show. Like, I've been watching what they've been doing for ages and discovered loads of really amazing chefs like Sophie Wybird and Ben Lippert. But I finally sort of bit the bullet and bought a membership about 6 weeks ago to their website. And it's honestly like really changed the way I
I
cook.
didn't even realise
So
that they
good.
have a membership. Like,
I don't know when they launched
What,
it officially like that. I think it.
Last year?
Yeah, I bought it because I saw on Instagram that they were doing like a summer savings thing where I think you
Yeah.
could get membership for a year for £30,
Oh,
which
what?
sounds like a lot of money, but actually
That's
it's
not a lot of money
For a year.
for what you get as well. Also, I guess that's the price of 2 cookbooks or something,
Yeah.
and you get
Yeah.
access to so many amazing recipes. But it's honestly like changed the way I've been cooking at home. Like I haven't really used any of my cookbooks for the last few weeks, which I'm sure I will return to at some stage. But I just think it's so clever. So you get access to all these recipes. Like some of them I think you don't have to be a member to access, but then some of them, most of them you do. But yeah, they've got this like digital tool where you can like plan your meals for the week. So you sort of like drag and drop the recipes
A dream
you like.
for every organizer.
Yeah.
It's so clever.
It's so good. And then you can also, they do like every Monday they'll send an email of like sort of template sort of meal plan for the week. And then if you like what you see, you can just do like create shopping lists and it like gives you all the ingredients you need and
That's
the
a game
quantities.
changer.
I was gonna say, because that's my least favorite thing. Like when I see a recipe and then having to like write down all the bits, like you know, and then recipes overlap, and you're like, oh my god,
Well,
what do I
that's
need
what
to
I
get?
thought was clever because some of them use the same ingredients because it's obviously meant to keep the price down. But yeah, it just automatically sort of calculates that you need 4 courgettes because you're going to use them a couple of times.
Absolute
Oh,
dream.
that's really
Yeah.
clever.
So,
Okay.
good.
so it's not saying buy this multiple times. It will just
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
like work out the amounts, which is super clever. And then the other thing, which is my favourite thing because I hate maths, is this feature where if you're obviously it gives you the recipe for 4. But if you're cooking for like 3 or like 6 or any random number, you could just like press a button to get the number of people you're cooking for, and again it just updates all the amounts.
Because that always feels like
So
so
good.
rogue when I
know.
just always go kind of like 2 more people for 4 people. I'm just going to add a little bit.
Sometimes it's easy, but it's when it's like quite precise things and you're like, oh God, what's that times 3?
And then you just buy way too much and you're left with all that stuff. No, that makes
Whereas
so
again,
much
this
more
is
sense.
like click of a button, you've got your amounts. It's those little hacks are super easy.
So good.
But yeah, no,
nice. And what's the best thing that you've made recently?
Honestly, there are so many. I have
You're
to
gonna make me hungry.
So one, really sorry. The best thing I've made, because I've made it a few times now, is vodka tomato gnocchi, which is so good. And it's got like loads of mozzarella on top that you then just like bake in the oven like a lasagna. But that is a banger.
Oh yeah.
Really. Vodka sauce is so good as well.
So good.
I never thought about that. Oh, that's so good.
It's really easy. It's only about like 6 ingredients as well. It's like that's a banger. There's just loads of really, really amazing people with doing like Asian recipes as well. Like I know you said there's that drunken noodles. I've made those since you pointed it out.
I also make that about once a week. Yeah. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's the combination of like the lime, the oyster sauce, whatever else is in there. It's just so good.
It's lovely. Loads of veggies. There's also another recipe. I can't remember whose it was at now. I think it might be Chloe Rene's, but I'll double check that. But it's like sausage noodles. So you just like, you know, when you squeeze sausage out of their casings, and then
so
it's so disgusting. It basically just to point out,
unsheath it.
Every German ever just died. What do you mean? You?
Also, Vanessa is vegetarian, so it probably sounds disgusting. I'm sorry.
I actually love meat. I just don't eat it.
Okay,
fine. Like, I love the taste of it, but
you basically squeeze it out of the casings because then it creates more of a mince texture. So you just sort of break the sausage meat down, so it's like, you know,
we can select it down the middle and unsheath it.
I love that.
But you get it like really crispy, and then add like loads of chili that you've already pickled in vinegar, loads of veggies that sort of wilt down, and then add the noodles, and it's really simple.
That gives Brat energy.
There we go, Bratwurst energy.
Taking a sausage apart.
But honestly, it's because it's got so much chili in, it's so delicious.
Nice.
So yeah, basically I could go on, like, I'm always like, just have this healthy thing, and then some new pasta dish will catch my eye, and suddenly I've made
you convinced me. I'm like, this sounds great.
Yeah, all of the recipes are genuinely so tasty.
I've surprised myself that I've just been using it all the time.
I have a cookbook of them at home, and like honestly, everything I've done with it is just so good.
And then, sort of on the subject of food, I just wanted to talk quickly about my recent holiday to Greece, because I know it feels like
so nice.
Every person in the world seems to be in Greece at the moment, but I hadn't actually been until earlier this year. So
I can't believe you've never been.
I know. I don't know why it was. I think it's just one of those things where you're like, you know, it's always going to be there, so you just kind of put it off, and you're like, I'll go another time. And I do really like Italy as well, so I kind of just keep going to Italy.
I keep going to Italy. I'm like, the food is so good. But Greece is like, so.
I loved it. We're doing a Athens city guide. That's going to be one of our next ones in our series of guides. So I was like, I need to go to Athens, need to explore it, so we
That's a good reason.
I think so.
There you go.
That's great. I should be on your team. I'm like, oh no, I have to go.
I simply must.
I simply must go on this holiday.
So we started off in Athens, and I won't talk about it too much because it will all go in the guide later on this summer. But went to the Acropolis, which was genuinely awesome, and actually the Acropolis Museum, which only opened a couple of years ago at the foot of the Acropolis, is one of the best sort of archaeological museums I've ever been to. It's really clever the way they do it, and we went there just before we then walked up, and I would recommend doing it that way round, because then you obviously get to the top full of all this knowledge of exactly what you're looking at. So that was super nice. We also went down to the Athens Riviera, where there's got this massive lake, which I'm not going to try and pronounce, but I'll put it in the notes below. But it's like this natural lake with all these caves in. There's loads of like weird little fish in there, and everyone goes to like stick their feet in, and it's like, you know,
those that eat
it was like, you know, when something's so disgusting but fascinating. We just spent like half an hour
Did you do it?
I did, having a bit of a pedicure with these fish, but it's like a whole natural thing.
I'm too ticklish, I think, for it.
You kind of get used to it. So I'd never, you know, when you see, they used to have them in like shopping centres, didn't they? It was also, besides that, it was just like very beautiful, very green, and it just felt like a nice summer city experience to do. Ate in loads of amazing restaurants. We stayed in this newish hotel called Monument in Athens, which is, it's right in the centre, but just like a few streets away from the sort of hubbub of the middle. And it's in an old sort of family mansion. So there's only a few bedrooms, but it's like absolutely beautiful. They've got a hammam and spa bit downstairs.
Oh, I love hammam.
And just like the most amazing breakfast of like, Greek yogurt and fruit. And...
Yeah, Greek food full stop.
I
Greek
know.
breakfast is such a treat, isn't it?
Oh, so nice. I feel we could do a whole podcast on Greek food, so I won't talk about
I feel like I don't
much.
eat Greek food enough.
Do you know?
I don't think.
Well,
because there's not a lot of Greek restaurants around, so you're kind of like.
There are some really good ones,
new
but
ones.
I know, Oma.
Oma, yeah.
Immediately go like Oma.
Oma.
Putting it on my list.
And Agora, which are both in Borough Market. The guy who had Manteca has opened that, and that's Greek. And
Isn't Sophia in Notting Hill Greek
yes,
as well?
yeah, Zephyr.
Yes, that is on my. That is on
that's
my list.
really good.
We keep calling it Sophia.
No.
Sophia was on there.
Zephyr
Okay.
is really good. And then actually for a like proper taverna experience, I haven't been for a while, but there's Andy's Taverna up in Camden, which I used to go to all the time about 15 years ago, and that's
Nice.
Nice.
Well, I'm going to Oma first.
Yeah, go
you
to
guys
Oma,
were so
yeah.
Good luck getting
it was like a
bookings.
communal. I'm going to be booking for like 3 months time.
yeah.
I can
Worth
wait.
it, though.
I don't mind waiting.
Yeah, no, well,
Sorry, I distracted again. From
No,
your research.
well, this is what food does to us.
Exactly.
It just sort of, your mind just starts thinking about cheese and other lovely things. And then, from Athens, we just went to a couple of different islands. So we went to Antiparos, which is a really small island
beautiful.
off of Paros, and stayed at this amazing hotel called the Rooster, which is a sort of lifestyle wellness hotel, but it's right on the beach. It's really small. The villas are gorgeous. The food was amazing.
It's like farm to table.
Exactly,
dining.
and you can actually book in to have lunch on their farm as well. And like the chef, she's amazing. She'll just like make this amazing food right on the
So
beach. And I had the best massage of my life there as well. It was literally
what
Sounds
Really?
so relaxing.
well, the main guy who looks after the spa is really into like Ayurveda, so it's like a proper sort of Indian healing massage, and it was genuinely like
Restorative,
he's got
yeah.
healing hands. That fella, he was really good.
Oh, good to know.
yeah, good to know. So we went there. We also went to Tinos, which is quite a big island, but I don't think typically lots of people go there from the UK. It's very mountainous. It's got loads. It's famous for all its like really pretty little villages. And we ate lots of really good food there. Just basically lots of walking and swimming was kind of the vibe of the
Walking,
holiday.
swimming, food.
Exactly,
Sounds perfect.
exactly.
Literal dream.
Holiday.
I know. And then finally we went to Foligandros, which is a really small island, which again, all of the above, but because it's so small, you kind of get around on quad bikes, so we just sort of
Fun.
Oh my god.
zipping up and down, and it also meant you can get down to some quite hidden, hard to get to beaches otherwise, which was quite scary at first because we were literally like dangling down on these quad bikes. But
Yeah, that is
once-
quite, a good driver to do.
I was not doing the driving. But no, that's a beautiful island. Like I would really recommend it. It was absolutely gorgeous.
That
so.
sounds dreamy.
Was it hard to go from one island to the next? Like,
Yes
how
and
did you-
no. We, again, because we hadn't done Greece before, we were a bit sort of idiotic in hindsight because we were like, we're going to go to Athens and we're going to go here and then we're going to go here and then we're going to go here. And then it got nearer the time and we were like, oh, okay, yeah, it's not actually as simple to get from A to B as we thought. So we spent quite a lot of time in Mykonos port, quite a bit of time on Santorini, just like waiting for the next ferry to go for one.
okay.
To be honest, it wasn't that bad, but we tried to make sure we stayed on each island for a good couple of days so that we weren't
Make the most of it.
on a
you're just
ferry all
travelling
the
the whole
time.
time,
Yeah. But no, would heartily recommend those islands. And yeah, I also thought Athens was
dream.
great. So yeah.
Yeah, I really want to go
Nice.
to Athens, actually.
Yeah, keep an eye out for our guide later on.
Really exciting.
Vanessa, what have you got for us?
Well, actually, I'm going to start with a book because it actually is set on one of those islands. I don't know what the actual island. I don't actually know if it's a real one that they're talking about in the book, but like it is that sort of vibe. Like you know, you can only access it with like a ferry that goes like once or twice a day. It is called The Liars by Catherine Fleet. It's not actually out yet. I got it. I guess like we get sent books to the office sometimes that aren't out yet, and I took one of those. I read it without realizing it wasn't out yet, and then kind of realized afterwards, after I recommended it to a friend, she was like, I can't find it anywhere.
Oh, well, yeah, you got a nice little preview.
Yeah, it was nice. But so it basically is set on one of those little islands, and it's about two women who are stepsisters, and the narrative comes from one of those stepsisters, and they met like, I can't remember how many years ago, I think 20 plus years ago for the first time on that island after their parents got together. One of them is quite rebellious, like, you know, quite cool kid. And the other one is like straight A's, like always good. And they kind of befriend each other. And she writes, I love how it's written because it starts in the present where she goes to the island again. And she says she hasn't been there like since that first time they went there, those 20 ever so years ago. And then it kind of goes back and forth between her first time there and between the time where she's coming now. Because the reason she's coming now is because her stepdad has passed and the funeral is there.
I see.
Something happened when they first went there. Someone went missing.
Right.
And that's kind of like a secret that was kept between the two sisters. And that kind of slowly comes like spilling out and like, you know, everyone gets a bit nervous. And obviously they haven't seen each other in like over 20 years after the secret was like sealed. It's just like, and because it plays on this holiday island, it's this tiny island where they have a villa on, and it's so descriptive about like, you know, how it looks and all the little like, it's not very touristy, so like there's loads of little bars and they go around with their scooters, you know, when they're kids as well. I think they're 15 in the kids scenario, and they secretly rent out some scooters, and there's this secret pool that no one knows about that they go to, which is like an underground pool. It's very spooky and
I don't know.
mysterious. Yeah,
Creepy.
the whole like it's mysterious, but at the same time, it gives you that holiday vibe in a way. I read it when I was on holiday, and I was just loving like the vibe of like.
It sounds like a really good beach read.
Yeah, exactly. There's something about reminiscing about being a teenager on holiday.
Yeah.
And I know that the book has dark corners, but also a lot of it is them secretly drinking, you know, at these bars and like going out together, going to the beach together. And it just, I don't know, it just made me, it gave me a lot of things that I needed on that holiday. And so I thought I'd recommend it
brilliant.
for when it comes out, 15th of August.
Amazing. Thanks for checking the date.
Yeah.
That sounds brilliant.
And then actually yesterday, which is why I'm a bit slow today, probably. Apart from the football, what did you get up to now? I mean, I don't know why they keep doing these Sunday festivals. It's like, why not on a Saturday?
Yeah, it seems
The Sunday is-
Yeah.
But I did go to a festival yesterday. It was called Jungle Curates, organised by Jungle,
That's
the band.
really cool.
And it was essentially at this manor called Toft Manor. We booked buses like with the ticket. So you just get on a bus sitting at St. Pancras. They drive you up for 2 hours. And then you get there, you get off the bus, you're straight there. And you walk into this manor like garden. And they had their little festival set up there, 2 stages, foods.
That sounds so
there was some like there was some
nicely.
grounding work as well, like some grounding labyrinth things where you
really?
had to like take your shoes off.
Yeah,
And
nice.
so it was. We booked the tickets thinking it was a Jungle concert. I'm not gonna lie, but it was it was Jungle doing a DJ set. in hindsight.
Okay.
But it was still absolutely insane. And they had Ross from Friends playing.
Oh, yeah.
They had Annie Mac, which I was
cool.
very excited
I
about.
like that.
Sorry, Ross from Friends.
It's a band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
it's a DJ. Yeah. Not the actual Ross from
I was like, what? David
Schwimmer.
No, David Schwimmer was there. He was playing the DJ.
Okay, got you.
No, it's a
Makes
DJ. And their sets were all lovely, and the sun came out as well.
Oh,
and
nice.
it was really
Actually,
nice.
the weather yesterday was really
Yeah,
nice.
it was
lovely.
really good. And then, because obviously it was the final as well, they announced ahead that they were going to put a screen up, like, and we didn't realise that
You
they were
kind
going
of
to put...
have to, don't you, with these now?
You have to. But they put the screen right next to the stage. So, like, it kind of came up, like, 20 minutes before the game. Like, it just kind of zoomed up there. And we were like, oh, wow, it is really, like, right there. So you had, like, your music, like, you know, Jungle doing that DJ set there. And at the same time, you had the football
So
over
was
there.
the football on silently?
Yeah,
so
it was on
sort of being
silently,
soundtracked by
So you kind of
Jungle.
had to, like, you had to make sure, you know, and they were playing some, like, football tunes, like, you know, like, get the crowds going. Obviously, like, it was a bit awkward because basically England lost, and that was just when Jungle was starting to do their like last final songs, you know, when you get really hyped up.
No.
They had a massive
This.
light show. Well, I feel like they were just, you know, they wanted to do their sets.
Yeah.
And everyone, you could see like the light show was insane, the music was great, and like usually people would be like hands up, like, oh my god, and you could tell everyone was a bit like,
Subdued.
I don't know what to do. Like, am I allowed to?
Do I
still,
dance? Do I
like,
cry?
or do I just? So everyone was kind of like doing this, but with hands down.
Oh, that's tragic.
My friend cried. So it was just like I was just holding her while like, you know, this massive like light show is going on. I was like, not sure.
Oh dear.
But all
That's
in
always
all,
the risk when you put a festival on the same
Yeah,
day as a
yeah.
Euros final.
well, I don't think they knew at the time.
Well,
that
they
there
wouldn't.
was,
They probably
yeah.
didn't even dare dream that England would
Yeah,
be
true.
playing.
But yeah, all in all, I thought it was a great way of like giving people like especially people like I get quite uncomfortable in like really big crowds, and things like Glastonbury, like I would love to go,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like it does kind of scare me how
Yeah.
big it is. This festival was so overseeable. I didn't lose anyone once. I happily went to the bathroom by myself because I knew like
Yeah.
the grounds were so small.
Yeah.
That like you could find your friends
Yeah.
again, so it's a lovely like
nice.
experience for people who don't want to go to like a massive festival but still want to have that like
Yeah.
festival vibe and energy.
Yeah.
10
That
out of
sounds
10 would
awesome.
recommend. I hope like they're gonna do some more, or like other bands do the same sort of
Yeah.
thing. Last but not least, just to mention, I went to my friend got me a pain au chocolat from Layla Bakery in Notting Hill.
So nice.
I had the pain au chocolat. At first I was a bit like, it was really large and very light, so I was a bit like, oh, is it gonna be one of those really dry ones?
Yeah.
But turns out it just was like baked quite big. Like once
I
you squished it,
see.
it went quite like flat. And I kid you not, the butter was coming through the packaging. And
That's
that's
what you
how I
wanted.
like it. I want my fingers to be oily. Like I was literally like in heaven. I took a bite. I was like, yep, this is it. It's perfect. I mean, you have to queue, sadly. Like there's
I was going
always
to say,
queues
the
around
one
there.
time I went, I had to queue, but my God, it
It's
was
worth
so
it, isn't it?
good.
It's worth
Yeah,
it.
and you can watch them sort of making it as well, or like
And the
rolling
layers
them.
are insane. Like there's
Yeah.
so many layers to them. I've never seen that.
I think they change their
Delicious.
bakes up quite often, but when we went, there was like this amazing sort of ricotta cheese, sort of twist, sort of Danish type thing.
Oh,
which
that sounds so good.
is still
I love a
up there,
Danish.
yeah.
A savoury Danish
Yeah.
is like, But yeah, anyways, this is just, you know, in case anyone's
an
looking for
honourable
like a
mention.
more buttery croissant, go there.
On that note, actually, so we'll move on to SL Picks, but we just wanted to highlight we've launched the SheerLuxe Bar and Restaurant Awards 2024,
Woo! We
which
have.
went live last week. Sherri, do you want to tell us a little bit about them?
Yes, we did the first one last year, so we're back again for another year. Heather and I and the wider team have collectively made a list of some of our favourite restaurants, old and new, in London, and bars and pubs, basically a bit of everything.
Yeah.
All of it.
Exactly, so readers now have the chance to vote for some of their favourites. So we split it into some different categories compared to last year.
Yes.
So we've got some of our hero restaurants,
Yep.
our favourites that we return to time and again. Then we have got newcomers, so these are the new restaurants on the scene.
Because there's just millions that seem to be
Oh,
opening
so
all the
many.
time.
Oh my God, it's crazy.
It's hard to keep track
hard to
of. And
keep up.
actually,
There's
even
so
when we were
many.
pulling the list together, we were like, I can't believe all of these have only just opened in the last year, because some of them have already, feels like they've really embedded themselves
Yeah,
into the scene.
Exactly, they've only
and-
been open for a few months.
Yeah.
Which is impressive. We've also got a Luxe Gen category
Yes.
for some of those
Yes.
LG favourites.
Yeah.
And then we've got our pub and bar heroes as well, so some of our favourites, and then new bars and pubs as well. So there's a lot in there.
There's a
but
lot in there.
So much.
Lots of good
Love it.
old and new names.
Exactly. I thought we could just run through a couple of our
Okay, yeah.
own personal favourites on the list.
Okay.
Vanessa, I'll come to you first. Who have you pulled
All right.
out and why?
I've marked one Brutto.
Brute.
And I remember we talked about this on a podcast. You recommended it. I went there and I absolutely loved it.
So this is one of
I'm
the
s-
SheerLuxe heroes.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
one
It's
of the
just,
25 all times.
first of all, it's affordable. Like it's actually like reasonably
Yeah,
priced, because I find Italian food in London for some reason is just like
It can
ridiculously
sometimes
expensive.
be
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
expensive, I agree.
And the vibe in there, you feel like you're because it's in that side alley as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
You feel like you're transported like into like little Italy, and you're
Yeah.
just, I don't know, for a few hours you're just somewhere else. And the Negronis,
£5
Oh,
Negronis. Can't
find it
argue with
great.
that.
Where could you find a cheaper one?
Well,
I don't think you can in London.
No, I really don't. Maybe somewhere where you probably shouldn't be drinking it if it's less, but no.
But yeah, so
Agree.
like it's just a winner. I mean,
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a great one.
it's just, and the food is so
They do good vodka pasta as well. They're another one. If you go,
That's
with,
what I had. Yeah.
yeah, if you go with a group, like they're quite famous for their big cuts of meat, and you just have to sort of order it by the gram or the kilo, whatever it is. But that it can work out being super cheap if there's like 5 of you tucking in for nice.
Also the anchovies with the toast.
With the butter curls. I
Oh,
love
the butter curls.
those butter
So
curls.
good.
That was really good.
That was really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one I immediately was like, yes.
Voted
and then
for.
my other one is obviously a bar because
Yes.
that seems to be my theme. Little mark for Seed Library in Shoreditch.
Love Seed
That's
Library.
one of my favourites. Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God,
definitely one of my favourites.
It is so good. The cocktails. Again, it's actually like, it's not too bad price-wise. I mean, cocktails would always be expensive.
Some of them are like
14
£14, pounds, which I think it's Mr. Lyon who looks after that, and he's been voted best mixologist in the world multiple times. So I think for what you're getting, I think they're
And also
pretty good.
in London, finding anything cheaper than that is quite hard, especially if you want like a well-made cocktail.
or something a bit interesting.
Yeah. And I love that it's like, hidden away again.
Yes.
Like you go downstairs.
So it's in the basement of the 100 Shoreditch Hotel. It's
I
very,
love to sit at the bar.
yeah, it's like dark and atmospheric. I don't know about you, but whenever I've gone in, like the people who serve you just could not be nicer.
Honestly, they're like, what do you like? What's your vibe? Like, that's why I like to sit at the bar because then you're like right there with your bartender and you can like tell them, and they're so like lovely. They let you try stuff. I don't know. It just, the atmosphere is like really, really lovely.
fun.
Just got to shout out the bar snacks as well. So
Yes,
they change them quite regularly, but when I went last time, they had sort of like cod's roe with What's-Its, which really works. I
love that.
And then they also do like potato smileys
Also the
with
smiley
stuff
faces.
as well. Like fun little twists.
I love that.
Just
Nostalgic.
enough to line the stomach slightly if you have 1 or 2 cocktails. Sherry, what did you go for?
Oh, I mean, it's really, really hard. Okay, so one of my favourites, which is on our SL Hero list for restaurants, is Lagare.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a great Italian near Tower Bridge, Tower Hill. And the food is just so good. And if you just want a really like fresh take on like Italian cuisine, honestly go there. I'd say it's a little bit more expensive than like your Bruto, for example, but for like a special occasion, cocktails are amazing. You'll get fresh, handmade pasta, fresh every day. The desserts, I think the last time I went, I had like a Sicilian style, almost like a cheesecake, like a Bath cheesecake, but Italian-esque.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Was so nice with like a blood orange sorbet,
Oh,
which was
yum.
just like so fresh, and everything's a bit different. I don't think I've seen any of those dishes elsewhere.
Oh, nice.
That's really one of my favourites.
Oh,
I like when they put a twist on things.
I know.
It's like so nice.
And the newcomers, I
Yes.
mean, all of the LG ones, even though I'm
I
not a
know.
Lux Gen girl myself, but Toe. No, you say Toe, which is at the Globe, which is the Borough Market.
So it's spelled TOU with an accent, just in case people are Googling.
Yeah, so I think I asked them how they say this.
Yeah,
toe.
There you go.
They just do the most amazing sandos. But the menu was really short. Sandos,
You
fries,
did a TikTok with that, didn't you?
Yeah.
We did one for a
Yes,
TikTok.
That was so good.
Delicious. I think it was like slow cooked pork belly in a sando with some chili fries, delicious mayonnaise, and then they do this dessert which is it's kind of like a posh McFlurry. So it's like soft serve with some kind of like Oreo chocolatey crisp and then like a sauce, and they kind of like pull this like contraption off the top so it all kind of like melts into one.
Oh, wow.
So it's very visually cool, but also
Visually
just
fun.
tastes delicious. I mean, I could go on.
I was going to say, I don't even know where to like pick, because essentially we've picked all of them.
I was going to say, you know all of them. I picked the ones I
Yeah,
tried.
no. So Oma is actually on there as one of their sort of newcomer restaurants. That's one we mentioned earlier that's in Borough Market. I mean, so many of these. There's one, I think I spoke about it on the podcast before, but in the new bars and pubs, we've got Bar Kinky, which is that Georgian cocktail bar that's really inventive and cool on Charlotte Street, which I feel like I don't hear that much about it, but it was genuinely like super impressive. So I'd love to see that getting a bit of love. There's the Hero of Maida as well, which I know you've been to, Sherry, which is
so good.
The new pub from the crew behind the Pelican.
I've been there, but just for drinks.
The food is so
Hey,
good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
And
It
very
looks
reasonably
incredible.
priced.
I mean, I could go on, Tockless, which has been open for a few years now. It's just near Somerset House, but I went for the first time about 6 months ago, and I still think about it a lot. It's another beautiful restaurant. It's like really beautifully designed. They've got a really nice terrace, and the food changes quite regularly. So what I had then probably isn't on now, but I thought I was really impressed with that. Carl, really great high-end Mexican.
Oh yeah, so good.
He's just opening a new one actually later this summer called Fonda, which I'm really excited about because I think Cole's brilliant. I mean, yeah, loads and loads and loads. But essentially, if you want to see the full shortlist, have a look on the SheerLuxe website and please do vote. We've got the 5 different categories. The voting is open until the 8th of August, and also, if you do vote, you'll be entered in with a chance to win a table for 2 at one of the shortlisted restaurants. So, very good reason to have your say, Vanessa.
That is nice. I didn't know you could win something.
Yeah, you could win something. So, please do give those restaurants a vote and, give some of your favourite restaurants a bit of love. So, moving on to news review. Sherri, you're just going to quickly talk us through what seems to be the wedding of the year.
I mean, the wedding of the decade.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a wedding this hyped up since Sophia Richie's one.
Yes.
Was that last year?
And that's not
maybe,
even like, that wasn't even like half as big as this one. This wedding has been going on for so long.
It's been going on for 6 months.
6 months.
6 months. So this is the Ambani wedding.
Yes.
And they are a family of tycoons, and they are, I think, Asia's richest family. I think the patriarch alone is worth about £105 billion.
I mean, it's just unfathomably rich.
Yeah, it's just like wildly rich. So his youngest son, Avant, got married to Radhika, his long-term girlfriend, and they got married in Mumbai. But the celebrations have been going on for months.
Yeah.
Because I remember the Rihanna thing where she performed at like a pre-wedding party. And that was like months and months ago.
So I hadn't quite put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, this is the same wedding.
We're still at the same.
This past weekend, Justin Bieber was paid allegedly £10 million to perform. And I was like, wow, like everyone's getting these celebs to like, perform at their weddings without realising it's the same event.
Yeah, exactly. So Biebs was there, and then the lineup of guests has just been like off the charts. So the Kardashians were there, Kim and Khloe were there.
Oh yeah, they've had pictures in those amazing outfits.
Everyone just looked.
I mean,
also,
it's like
Indian
a fashion
wedding.
show.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful.
The outfits are just so colourful and like, just amazing. Shah Rukh Khan, probably Bollywood's biggest star, was there with his wife. Rima performed as well as Justin Bieber, so they're getting like the biggest acts. And apparently it cost £101 million, this wedding.
Wow.
Which 10% of that went to Justin Bieber.
Yeah, sounds like,
So
is that the wedding that just happened this weekend cost $101 million, or is
I
that
think
all the...
I think that must be all together.
Surely. I
But
hope
wait,
so.
is this the wedding done? Was it still? I saw like this is an Instagram thing, so it might not be true. But there were rumors about Adele and Drake being lined up for
I mean, that still could be to come.
Yeah.
Obviously, Indian weddings do go on they have like it's not just
multiple
one day.
celebrations.
I love it.
Exactly.
I love it.
And Vogue had the exclusive, so you can read about that over there. But yeah, it just seems to be just off the charts in terms of like decadence and the money that's gone into it is crazy.
We're also going to quickly touch on that sort of note about all the celebrities and celeb spotting. Obviously, it was Wimbledon last week, and this like the last weekend alone and yesterday was sort of celeb spot heaven, wasn't it? Margot Robbie showed everyone that she was pregnant with her first child, which was really sweet. Kate, Princess of Wales, made another sort of long-awaited, sort of much hoped for return. She was handing out the men's final trophy, so she was resplendent in purple yesterday.
She got an amazing standing ovation.
Yeah, I know.
As expected.
That was really lovely. I quite like seeing Pierce Brosnan in a big old, beard. He looked very.
He's in his brat era.
He looked.
He's in his brat
era. Circling back.
Yeah. It did feel like this year, even I know there's always celebs there all the time, but it did feel like a good
year to spot.
I loved Zendaya there. I was like,
yes,
so good. Like so good after the whole challenges thing, and there she is. I don't know why I now connected to tennis.
Well, I think everyone does.
Yeah, it's an iconic role for her.
Yeah, and she was wearing Ralph Lauren, wasn't she? Yeah. She looked really cool
with her new blonde hair as well.
New blonde hair.
The blonde. I love the blonde hair in the curls.
Yeah,
like before she had it always quite styled, but now she had it up and around with like the curls. I was like, this is such a vibe.
Yeah. Amazing. Right, let's quickly move on to our community deep dive. So there are a couple of questions. Somebody was asking about hair care routines and masks because they kind of wanted to just add a few more products to their routine just to sort of strengthen their hair. And Vanessa, you had a couple of products you wanted to recommend.
So I've had like quite a bit of hair loss like a while ago. I've got very fine hair, so like, you know, you got to be a bit careful. But I've been using, and I've got this from TikTok, a rosemary oil from, I bought it from Amazon. It's called Miele or Miele. It's spelled Miele, which I just put on once a week. Just because I think it can be quite harmful if you use it more often. Because my hairdresser says like rosemary oil, like yes, like it can help, but like what really does the job is no product needed for that apart from like one of those little brush thingies, you know, the like spongy brushes.
Oh yeah.
You just massage your hair every evening for like 2 to 5 minutes. Like all you have to do, especially the areas, you know, like for me it's like the back of my head and the 2 front bits. You just like give it a little massage. And it's actually quite calming as well.
So it's kind of, is that like sort of stimulating the roots?
Yeah, it stimulates growth.
Yeah.
Like it's really important to like stimulate like
the scalp,
which is also why scalp treatments are good, you know.
Yeah,
like,
I do like a scalp
skin,
scrub.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like people
love
always
scalp scrub.
focus on the actual hair, but it's the scalp that produces it. So we've got to
It's so
take care of
true.
that.
When Jonathan Van Ness came round the office, I asked him when he came to me like a similar thing, like how do I get it to grow? Because I just feel I've been trying to get it to grow for so many years now, and it just kind of gets to here, and then I'll go and get it cut, and it just feels like it's just like,
this is the area.
Yeah, exactly. It just kind of the bit that's grown then that gets chopped off. But he said basically all your hair is dead hair, obviously apart from the stuff at the top. So he was like, in order to like look after it, he said to sleep with your hair tied up. So he said to kind of like pile it all on top of my head loosely with a silk scrunchie.
Yeah.
And then he said that way it won't get sort of matted and tangled in the night, and then you've got to like rake through it the next day, which sounded like obvious, but it just wasn't really.
That's why I sleep with a
something.
sleep turban as well.
Do you?
Or a silk pillowcase.
Yeah,
is
see, I
nice
hadn't
for
really
that.
thought about that. I was all so focused on like products and like not using like a hairdryer and things like that to sort of dry it out. But actually, maybe it's sometimes the simplest thing.
Yeah.
Because when we sleep, like we move around a lot.
And I
Oh my
really
gosh,
do.
yeah.
Also, like
friction.
it's the same for your skin as well. If you have your hair down and your hair obviously has oils in it and stuff, and you have it on your face while you sleep, that's not good. So it's good to have it.
Yeah.
Up. I feel like these are all like
Yeah.
things that aren't
Tangible
necessarily
tips.
product related, but like also help.
Also, we are in the middle of filming the next series of our Black Beauty podcast, which is very
Can't wait for
exciting.
that.
Nice.
And there's going to be a whole episode just on hair with some experts. So look out for that if you have textured, curly afro hair. Lots of tips and tricks and, you know, tips on how to have your best textured hair life.
One to tune in for. And then finally, it was actually a question that I asked, but I wanted to bring it up because I got like so many amazing replies. It felt like it really sort of gripped people. So I was saying, I'm looking to upgrade my pillows as I always wake up with a stiff neck. And I was just basically explaining how I was happy to spend a little bit of money to like get that sort of hotel.
Yeah.
You know, when you just go to a hotel, and I don't know how, but you just kind of
Sleeping on
just
clouds.
sink into it. Whereas even when I bought some before that I think are going to have that effect, like I'm still like it's just not that same sort of nice, soft, pillowy thing. And I had so many replies, so I just thought I'd read a few out.
Yeah,
so
please.
quite a few people mentioned John Lewis saying that you can go in and you can try them all out in store, which I thought was a really good thing to know.
Yeah.
I haven't actually done that because I don't live near a John Lewis, but I thought that's probably the way to go, isn't it? Because sometimes you think
wanna
you're
try
getting
before you
something
buy.
soft.
Yeah.
Everyone's
I
different
keep
as well.
ordering it online and then I wonder why I don't like it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there are a few for those. Chloe on our team recommended Soak and Sleep, and they're the ones I actually ended up buying. And
Ooh, are they
really,
nice?
really good.
Really
Yeah,
good.
really good. She recommended the Goose Down pillows. She said it changed her life. I've got those. They're really, really good. There was a sale on, so I managed to get a few because I think they're a little bit pricey, but for me, they've been really excellent. But other people, somebody mentioned the Simba pillows. Vanessa commented, "Let me know how you get on picking one because I'm also on the hunt."
I made a really big deal out of it. We had like actually in the office chats about this. Like it became a thing. Like
Yeah, it was
pillows.
great.
Everyone
Like,
loves like complete.
Honest?
Some people like
Yeah.
really hard. I like a really soft.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Somebody also mentioned Soho Home were good. Another shout out here. This is a new one. for the Simba hybrid pillows. Soak and Sleep, John Lewis, White Company.
I was going to say White Company.
Yeah, and Casper pillows. So yeah, if anybody listening, watching,
Great.
is in the market for some new...
You're supposed to update them more frequently than we do, like every few years or so.
I think so. I think maybe my previous ones. Actually, we got a new mattress when we moved into our flat 4 years ago, and I got the pillows from the same company, but they were memory foam, and I thought, oh, that'll be perfect. But actually, it was just way too hard. I think I've since realised it's probably good for my sleeping posture, but not. I prefer something soft.
Yeah, I like soft.
Me too.
There we go. Nice. Cool. All right, I think we'll leave it there. Thanks both of you, and thanks everyone for watching and listening. If you've got any questions, please do email us at podcast@SheerLuxe. We love hearing from you, and don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.